As chairman of the testimonial, I would like to welcome everyone on my behalf and behalf of the committee for taking your time to be here to honor Maria, Pennsylvania's all-time basketball scoring record holder. At this time, I would like to present a gentleman who is a civic leader and involved in most things that happen around the area. He is a very good friend of mine. He gets involved in sports. I'd like to present the Master of Ceremony, owner, manager of WMIM Radio, Dave Donlin.
Thank you very much, Tom. You ever hear the word civic leader used before? That's when you're kind of nondescript. They don't know how to introduce you. Kind of a mixture between a politician, an activist, an organizer, and a salesman with a little bit of BS thrown in. First, we'd like to introduce the people at the head table. To my left, Father Jim Gavin, who gave us the invocation, will give us the benediction. Miss Debbie Greco, the head coach of the Mount Carmel area ladies basketball team, our main speaker. Our chairman, Tom Ternetsky. To my right, Alicia Fantanarosa and Mike Fantanarosa, Jr. Miami of Ohio coach Sue DeKalb. Sue, welcome to Mount Carmel and to the Mount Carmel area. And Mr. and Mrs. Mike Fantanarosa. And what a beauty he is. You ever hear a voice like that coming out of the bleachers at a basketball game? He was just being a partisan in basketball, but I'll tell you, he was a little bit different in softball. I worked some softball games. I haven't had too many Mount Carmel games in the last couple of years. I don't know why. I think basically it's because they started assigning the games to umpires in the Shamokin and the Bloomsburg chapter. But when Maria was a sophomore, I remember an incident down here at the Mount Carmel field when he was sitting in a lawn chair along the first base side with his thermos jug of iced tea, I guess it was. And he got on my case. I was umpiring at first base, and he was unhappy with a couple calls and called me over in between innings and asked me how I spelled my name, and I said D-O-N-L-I-N. He said, one I? I said, that's right. He said, I guessed it. But he went too far when he suggested that next time I bring a guide dog to the game. Maria has always been a team player, and in the games that I had an opportunity to watch her perform along with her teammates, I was always amazed when most of the media who covered her would relate to her as a scoring machine. And yet she was much more than that. She was the consummate team player. She was a great passer and is a great passer, probably the assist leader on her team and probably close to the top of the league in each of the seasons that she's played in the Schuylkill League, and a true team player. And I think it would be most appropriate to start our festivities this afternoon if we would keep that in mind, and so I'd like to introduce Coach Greco, and Debbie will introduce her teammates.
I have had the pleasure of coaching Maria all her 4 years through high school. Maria has been a coach's dream. I was very fortunate coming in with my first year and having a great player like Maria. Maria has developed all through her 4 years and has improved with each year. We are very proud that Maria chose to go to Mount Carmel High School. She has made Mount Carmel very proud of her, not only the high school, the community, and everyone who has been involved. Maria has achieved everything she possibly could have ever wanted to achieve in high school basketball. It's been a real pleasure having her, and I'm sure her future with Miami of Ohio will prove to be just as productive. I'd like now to introduce Maria's teammates. I will go in alphabetical order. I would like you to stand, please. Lori Adamchek. Lisa Belichick. Lil Cole. Margot Guinan. And the last senior is Maria. Okay, our one junior, Melissa White. Cheryl Darrop, sophomore. Mary Chicatano, sophomore. Peggy Chicatano, sophomore. Shannon Guinan, freshman. And Kimmy Little, freshman. Those are the Mount Carmel Lady Tornadoes. Thank you.
When Melissa White was introduced, she was pitching in a game that I was calling down on Blue Mountain last week, and I guess she agrees with you, Mike. I see Reverend Flint in the audience, and Reverend, I apologize for not recognizing you as a member of the clergy, and I did agree with Reverend Flint that if I would mention his name, he would pray for me. We are going to make our presentations later, but first it's my privilege to introduce to you our main speaker for the afternoon. And his achievements are right on the program page of your booklet. A beautiful booklet, I might add, and I'm sure it represents an awful lot of work and hard efforts on the part of the committee. But our main speaker is the head coach at Susquehanna University, the women's team. He was the assistant coach of the men's team for 1 year, then he moved up. And he's been the girls team coach at Susquehanna for the past 5 years. He has an overall record of 96 wins and 27 losses. One undefeated season when he was 24-0, he and his team. And he's averaged 22 wins per season. He's an outstanding coach and an outstanding individual. And it's my privilege to introduce to you the head coach of Susquehanna University, Tom Deal. Tom?
Thank you, Dave, and I'd like to thank the committee, Chairman Tom Chernesky and his committee. It's nice to be here, and I'd like to mention to Mr. and Mrs. Fantanarosa what a pleasure it is to be here. I enjoy the Mount Carmel community. I'll tell you a little more about that later. And most important, it's a pleasure to be here because Maria is such a fine person and such a great player, and it's an honor to be her guest speaker. When Chairman Chernesky called me about speaking at this affair, I mentioned to him I would be available, it was no problem, and that I was really honored to be asked for such an occasion. And he said, well, we wanted to have Sue DeKalb as our speaker, the coach from Miami of Ohio, but that was a problem because that was an NCAA violation for her to be a speaker at an event with one of her recruits. So Sue is here anyway, and we're glad she's here, but they would have certainly liked to have had Sue as a speaker. So then he mentioned that they decided they were really going to go big time, and they checked with Billy Cunningham and Casey Jones, and they're both in the playoffs. Then somebody thought of Hubie Brown, but he's announcing the playoffs for CBS, and he couldn't be here. Raleigh Massimino had another speaking engagement in Philadelphia, and then he tried to get a hold of John Thompson, but he's still not accepting any phone calls down in Washington. So he checked with Renee Portland, a women's coach at Penn State, and she's out of town with her family right now. Judy Sowers at Pitt just resigned, so she's not available. And he explained to me how glad he was to have me as a speaker. So I got even with him, though. When it got down, he wouldn't know what fees I'd charge. I'd say, I charge the same thing as Billy Cunningham. So I think this type of affair is very typical of this area. And I've been affiliated with the Northumberland Parks and Recreation several years ago when I was right out of college. We were running the playground on wheels over there. And I think one thing that always stuck in my mind was the cordiality of the people here and how well they treated us when we came out into this area. I can always remember, I don't know who the lady was, but there's a lady over by the football field in Caltmont. And whenever we came over there and set up the playground situation for those people, one lady always came out and brought iced tea for everybody and brought water out for the kids all the time. And they're really concerned about the young people. And I think that's important. And that speaks well for your area. We covered, I don't know, must have been 30 communities. And this area seems to be the only area that people really went out of their way for their kids. And I think that's great. I think it's really important. While I'm here, I'd like to take time and introduce one of my star players, a young lady from Shamokin High School who is also a very great basketball player. I saw her when she played against Danville High School one time where the game was on the line and she took the game in hand and scored the last 12 points consecutively to win that game. This year we were playing nationally ranked Elizabethtown College at our place, and we were down one with less than a minute to go. We had the ball. She drove in, scored a basket to put us ahead, stole the next pass inbound, scored a basket, put us 3 up, and then they went down and missed it. She came down and scored again, scored the last 5 points to win one of the nationally ranked games in the country at that time. I'm very, very proud to introduce a nice young lady and a super basketball player, Carol Weaver. I could stand. She can smile too, right? Okay. I'm sorry Chap Lewis couldn't be here, one of the commissioners, but I'm sure that Jim Kelly will appreciate this. He was my junior high basketball coach at Northumberland High School, and Maria would have liked to have played for him. He always thought the most important thing in basketball was scoring, and I always appreciated that. So we had a good time there. A lot of people ask me, what is the difference between coaching men's and women's basketball? And I think there are some differences, and I think the most important one that I found is after the game. Man, you wait forever for them to get out of the locker room. 2 years ago, we held the record for one team in the nation. We completely blew out the electrical system in 4 gymnasiums with hair dryers. And so that, believe me, when I coached guys, it was like 10 minutes on the bus hitting McDonald's. But with the women, it's a lot longer than that. I think the girls' game is still improving quite a bit. And it's improving at a greater pace. People like Maria coming on are great players. And they're going to do a lot for women's basketball. There's a lot more interest now in girls' basketball than when I was young. I think my experience running camps, it's just unbelievable the amount of kids that come to camp now compared to maybe even 5 or 7 years ago when that just wasn't the case. I think the coaches in girls' basketball are much better now. There are serious people interested in doing a good job. I'm not taking it away from any football coaches or anybody, but it seemed years ago that people took a girls' basketball job just as an extra job to make extra money. And nowadays, I think the coaches are a lot more intense, and a lot of year-round coaches who have really improved the quality of the game and helped the young girls coming up with fundamentals. And I think it's real important. I think the other thing today is parents care a whole lot more about girls and girls' athletics. I know back a few years ago, it was unheard of for girls, except maybe Maria and a few others, to have a basket in their backyard. That just wasn't done. And I think today, you girls out there, you've got to speak up, you younger girls, and make sure If you want a basket out back, you tell Dad, that's what I want for Christmas. If somebody's guy down the street can have one, you can have one too. And get out in the playgrounds. The playgrounds don't belong to the boys. You get out in the playgrounds, and if they don't want to give you a court, you find out somebody who's in charge, and you get a court, because they're your courts, and your parents pay taxes too. So I think that's real important and a thing that's happening. Although guys, from my experience coaching, I think guys may be faster and have more upper body strength, but I've found to be a real fact that girls have much better touch and are better shooters than guys are, believe it or not. I think the finger dexterity or whatever it may be, girls are pure shooters and are great shooters. And I think it really is an important part of their game. I think also at the college level that the girls using a little bit smaller basketball. We use balls 1 inch less in circumference. So it enables girls to handle the ball better. That ball was made proportionately for a woman's hand, and it really has helped. This year we've had better shooting percentage than we ever had. We have had better passing, better ball handling. And I really think the PIAA in Pennsylvania is kind of doing a disservice not to put that ball down into the grade schools and high schools where the girls probably need it more than the college girls. I've called them and checked with it this year, and they're not going to move on it again. But I sure hope they do it in the future, because there's several surrounding states have already made that move. I think it's 88, 89, isn't it, Sue, where all schools have to have a smaller ball. But for right now, I think it's a move we have to make. Another thing great about the girls' game in the college level is the shot clock. Guys are just getting around to that, but the girls have had it for a long time. And it really helps our game. It's a lot more exciting. The ball gets up and down the court. You don't get these things like you see the guys' games on TV where they're standing holding the ball for 2-3 minutes. And that's not what people are paying to see. That's not what it's all about. And I think that has to change. One other thing about girls' basketball I found is that young ladies are able to regroup a little better. They're able to, if things are going wrong in the court, I think emotionally, they're able to get together and get organized and get back into the game. I think that's real important too. And the other thing I found is that they're much more relaxed than guys before a game. I don't know why. They're a lot more free and easy and having fun than the guys. I think one thing that bothers me about basketball within the past month or so is this incident at Tulane University where several players were fixing games and involved in drugs and things like that. And I'm here for one to assure you, and I'm sure Sue and everybody else will back me up, that that's not the way it really is. I think most of our coaches at the college level are first of all concerned about academics. We want our kids to have a healthy social life. We want them to have professional goals, and we want them to enjoy a great athletic experience. I don't think that that's the case at a couple schools at the top, but that's not the way it is across the colleges in our country for the most part. There may be a couple people hungry out there that would do that, but for the most part, that just doesn't happen, and that's not the way colleges run. Coaching's a tough situation sometimes. I had one experience this year that I'm sure some of you enjoy. I'm sure two people out there that when I first came in, I saw in the audience, Jazz Diminick and Gus Veach, will enjoy. I remember having the pleasure of yelling at those two guys when I started coaching junior high a few years back. And we were playing in the Staten Island tournament over Christmas. It was a Christmas tournament up there. And we were playing in the finals. We had a tough ride over. Our vans broke down. It was an ice storm. It was right after Christmas. You remember the storm we had. And we got over there, and the first night we had a team that we were picked to do well in the tournament, so we had a team that wasn't too strong the first night. And we just got by with winning by 5 points. As a matter of fact, we got out of the vans, and within 20 minutes had to start playing the game. So you can imagine the situation we were in. The second night we were over there, and I'm sure Carol remembers this. It was a really, really tough game. We played a team called Stockton State. It was a pretty good Division III team. And the game was coming right down to the wire. And there was like a minute and 11 seconds to go in the game. We were up 1 point, and they had the ball. And they came down, and we have a girl on our team who's a great player. Her name's Debbie Easted, who has been an All-American in Division III the last 2 years. And Debbie made a really stupid foul. She fouled this girl and put her on the foul line. And so we thought, well, we'll take a timeout and frost her a little bit. So we went over to the bench, talked about things, and we said that this girl that was going to the line had missed her last 3 foul shots. So chances were we were going to come out of that situation with a tie, since we were 1 up, and we started making plans for what we were going to do, et cetera, et cetera. So lo and behold, we go out from the timeout, and we're walking out on the floor, and the girl from the other team, big girl's walking out on the floor and just falls over and starts holding her knee. And she's laying down on the floor. Nobody really hit her that hard or anything, you know, and I thought, what the heck is going on? How could something like this happen? And all of a sudden, her coach jumps up and says, got to get her out of the game, get her out of the game. And I had forgotten that his best shooter had 4 fouls on her and was sitting on the bench. And he's trying to stick his best shooter in the game. And I'm going crazy. I couldn't believe this was happening, you know. So I'm up and yelling like a fool. Every now and then you do. And sure enough, out on the line goes this really fine player from Stockton State. And I start yelling at the officials, how can you let this happen? Why are you letting this happen to us? And the official underneath blows the whistle and comes running up. I thought, well, I blew it. We're going to get a technical foul, you know. And he comes running up to half court. He says, Coach, sit down. I'll take care of it. I said, you got it, man. I ran over and sat down. And sure enough, she went back on the foul line. It took about 3 dribbles. And right when the ball left her fingers, he blew the whistle. He said, she's on the line, gone that way. And I thought, thank you, Lord. That was super. So the coach jumps up, and he starts screaming. They gave him a technical. We go down the other end, shot 2 technicals. We're up by 3. Incidentally, you're not even supposed to shoot 2 technicals in girls. And then we got the ball out of bounds and scored again, won the game by 5 points. So sometimes good things happen, and you do learn to like officials a little bit. I think that is one of the better things that's happened to me in a long time, though, believe me. I think it's important why we're here today. I think we need to talk about why we are honoring Maria and all the achievements she's had here. I mean, I've learned from Debbie that when she was in 9th grade, she would have to run laps because she tried shooting foul shots on her knees. I don't know if that's true or not, but is that true? But she's come a long way, I guess, and so is women's basketball. A person scores 3,623 points over, and they average over 30 points a game in 4 seasons. They're all-state, all-American, all-world. How can this happen to somebody like Maria? She's not 6'5", like a lot of the big-time players are. She's not the fastest girl in the state. She didn't come from a great, great high school program. Not that I'm knocking Mount Carmel's as good as the rest of them around here, but it's not the big schools that you normally expect great players to come from. She's not from a big city where the competition is so intense that players are supposed to be better. I spoke with Coach DeKalb why they were so intense in recruiting Maria. They felt she was an excellent shooter. She was a great passer, which incidentally some schools who recruited her may have overlooked. She's a very strong academic student. But most important, everybody said that Maria is a fine individual and she's a coachable player. I think that's really, really important. I think a lot of girls make the mistake of going on to college and they're more or less hot shots. Guys too, to be honest with you. And this isn't the case. Maria's a fine person. So I knew for a couple weeks I was going to be here. I've checked with some of the all-star team players that I know from my camps and things like that that I saw at the different all-star games she was in. And I asked them for comments, not asking why or anything, what do you think of Maria Fantanarosa as a player? The comment I got most often was they couldn't believe how unselfish she was as a player. They said she's a really, really nice person. They said she's a team player, and one girl told me, I thought she'd be a gunner. She scored all those points. I thought she'd be a gunner, but she wasn't. One girl said, she's just a lot of fun to play with. Another girl said, she always has the game on her mind. She's always thinking basketball. When you play with Maria, you better be ready, because the ball might hit you in the head if you're not. I think along with that, there are traits that Maria possesses. She has long hours of practice, she accepts advice, and she constantly drives herself to do better. And these are really, really important things, and I'm sure that these are the kind of things that will help Maria when she gets to Miami of Ohio to be a great college player. She's going to do fine there. She's going to do fine academically. She's going to do fine getting along with people. And she's going to do fine going out into the world as an individual. I brought a poem along that's kind of a favorite of mine. I'd just like to read to you in closing. I think it's kind of a nice thing, and it might relate to why we're here and what this is all about. It's a poem written by Amanda Bradley. And the poem is called Having a Dream. It says, forget about the days when it's been cloudy, but don't forget your hours in the sun. Forget about the times you've been defeated, but don't forget the victories you've won. Forget about mistakes that you can't change now, but don't forget the lessons you've learned. Forget about misfortunes you've encountered, but don't forget the time the luck has turned. Forget about the days when you've been lonely, but don't forget the friendly smiles you've seen. Forget about the plans that didn't seem to go right, but don't forget to always have a dream. Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
Thank you, Coach Deal. I certainly have to accept one of your pieces of advice, and that was to accept advice. Mike, I was going with my son. He played football at North Schuylkill this year, and a couple of schools were interested in him. So I went with him the first time and couldn't cut a deal, and second time and nothing worked out. So he gave me some advice. He said, stay home. And he set up his college program. We'd like to make a special presentation to Coach Deal for being here and sharing his time with us. Tom?
Thank you, Dave. I'm sure everybody in the room knows what's in this box because we're so proud of our heritage. My father was a coal miner, his father was a coal miner, and I'm sure of a lot of people in this room, their fathers or grandfathers were coal miners. And when the committee got together and said, what should we get this fellow? We want to get him something nice. This is such a big occasion. Mr. Adamczyk says, what do you mean, what should we get him? There's only one thing to get him. So at this time, I'd like to present this to Coach Deal, and it's from everybody in this room, and we love you.
I'll bet it's a couple soupies. Coach Deal was running down a list of speakers they thought about before they got to him. The last I heard, Judge Creel was supposed to be the master of ceremonies. Time for some presentations, well-deserved, and first we'd like to introduce Ms. Suzanne Smith, representing Governor Thornburgh.
Congratulations, Maria, and to your parents and to your fellow team members. And as a mother to your mother, I must tell you, when someone like Maria and her teammates go out on the basketball court with a younger little girl, you look 13 feet tall. You're so big in their eyes. I'm very honored, and it was a great pleasure to be selected by Governor Thornburg to present a personal greeting from him to you, and I would like to read it. Dear Maria, I was interested to learn that on February 11th, 1985, you became the leading scorer in the history of Pennsylvania high school basketball, surpassing Tom McMullen's old score of 3,608 points. This is indeed an outstanding achievement and one in which you can take great pride. I know all Pennsylvanians join me in applauding your accomplishments on the court. Congratulations and best wishes for your future success. Sincerely, Dick Thornburg.
Thank you, Suzanne. Give our regards to the governor. And for a second presentation, incidentally, the presentations are being made in the order in which the presenters appeared at the door. So there's no significance other than being punctual. Jim Kelly, the chairman of the Northumberland County Commissioners. Jim?
It didn't surprise me when Coach Steele told the story about Commissioner Lewis, that he had been coached by Commissioner Lewis. It seemed the first time that I ran for commissioner with Chap Lewis when we were campaigning down in the Sunbury, Northumberland, Milton area. We kept running into young people that were former students of Shikellamy High School. And as Chap introduced me to them, he'd say, I had this boy in school, I coached this boy, I taught this girl. After a couple of weeks of that, I had a sudden pain in the stomach, a little bit of a fear. I said to him, Chap, did you ever flunk any of these kids? Evidently he didn't. Maria, I don't know if you've seen this resolution yet or not, but I do want to share this with you, that in the commissioner's office, when I said I would be coming to this honoring today, I said I'd be very happy to represent the commissioners. And I asked to have the resolution ready for me. And they told me that your father would bring it up. I said, okay. So when I saw Mike, I said, Mike, I'll take the resolution up. That way I'll have it, and it'll be with me. He said, no, Jim, I'll take care of it. Now, I was not about to argue with Mike Fantanarosa about this resolution, but on Friday, I asked our office manager, Lori, I said, where is that resolution? She said, Mr. Fantanarosa took it. I said, okay, fine. When I left home today, my wife said to me, Jim, where's the resolution? I said, Mike has it. She said, I hope he has it there. I said, he will. When I walked in the door, the first person I looked for was Mike. I said, Mike, do you have the resolution? He said, yeah, I went back home for it. It's a pleasure to represent the county commissioners and to be here to recognize Maria today. And if I may, I'd like to read the resolution that is an official record of Northumberland County. Resolution of the County Commissioners of Northumberland County commending Maria Fantanarosa of the Mount Carmel Area School District on her outstanding high school athletic career and setting a new Pennsylvania high school scoring record in basketball on Monday, February 11, 1985. Whereas Maria Fantanarosa has broken the state scoring record of 3,068 points during her senior year at Mount Carmel Area High School, and whereas Maria Fantanarosa has brought honor to herself, her family, the Mount Carmel Area School District, and her fellow citizens of Northumberland County by her outstanding performance as a prolific scorer and student athlete, and whereas her accomplishments serve as an inspiration to other young men and women in Northumberland County and establish a standard of excellence, and whereas the County Commissioners of Northumberland County, on behalf of the citizenry of Northumberland County, commend Maria Fantanarosa for her achievements and wish her the highest success in future endeavors. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the County Commissioners of Northumberland County hereby commend Maria Fantanarosa for her achievements as a scholar an athlete at Mount Carmel Area High School, and direct that this resolution be fixed to the permanent records of the Office of the County Commissioners, signed by Northumberland County Board of Commissioners, James P. Kelly, Chairman, Charles F. Lewis, Lester W. Blevins, and attested to by James M. Brennan, Assistant Chief Clerk. Congratulations, Maria.
Maria, Northumberland County Parks and Recreation Commission is pleased to present you with this trophy and to congratulate you on your excellent performance on a basketball court. We know you will be equally successful when you pursue a career at Miami. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bruce. And our next presentation, in behalf of Senator Helfrich, Mary Crouch, who is an administrative assistant to Senator Edward Helfrich, has a citation from the State Senate that she would like to present on behalf of the senator.
Well, I guess everybody knows what time I got here today. I feel very honored to be here to make this presentation to Maria, since I grew up in Coltmont and I went to school with her father, Mike, although he asked me not to mention what year that was. On behalf of Senator Helfrich, this citation reads, whereas Maria Fantanarosa, a Mount Carmel Area High School basketball star, became Pennsylvania's all-time leading scorer in high school basketball when she scored a career total of 3,626 points at the Mount Carmel-Pottsville game. And whereas Maria has been the recipient of the Wade Trophy 3 times and played twice in the Keystone State Games, she was also selected to the Blue Star Basketball Camp All-Star Team. Now, therefore, the Senate of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania extends hearty congratulations to Maria Fantanarosa on her outstanding achievements and tremendous success as a formidable basketball player, wishes her the best in her future athletic endeavors, and further directs that a copy of this document, sponsored by Senator Edward W. Helfrich, be transmitted to Maria Fantanarosa, 902 Scott Street, Coltmont, Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Mary. Run out of space. And next, a presentation by Marion Velinowski, the assistant sports editor of the News Item. And Marion has certainly worked very hard and provided extensive coverage not only to Maria but to Mount Carmel area sports. And Marion, your presentation, please.
Maria, on behalf of the sports department, Schmelke News Item, we wanted to give something special to you so that you could commemorate your entire 4 years at Mount Carmel High School. So I'm sure the people out there are aware we have a booklet here of every game that you played during your career at Mount Carmel Area High School. And hopefully sometime in the future, when your playing days are over, you'll be able to look back at this booklet and cherish the memories of those days gone by. Congratulations.
Thank you, Marion. And next, a plaque presentation by the mayor of your hometown, Mayor Walter Stavinsky. Mayor?
Thank you, Dave and Tom. The Borough of Coltmont Recognition Award, Maria L. Fantanarosa, the State of Pennsylvania, most points scored, basketball, 3,823 points, presented by the citizens of Coltmont and the Coltmont Borough Council. With one thing in mind, I'm 58 years in Coltmont, and I've seen some stars come out of Coltmont. Hoji Pazelski, Joe Deminick, Joe Baxley, heavyweight boxing contender, Bernie Barkutsky. I think this is the first young woman that in my days, that I'm going to see come through Coltmont, and it's my pleasure. Maria, good luck to you and your teammates.
And we'll stay with Coatmont for a minute and ask George Murin, the president of the Coatmont Borough Council, to come forward with a resolution. George?
Accolades are wonderful tributes. Our town has deserved and earned many. As the mayor said, the first time in our history we have a young lady, which proves our little town, the mid-central point in the county with Mount Carmel, Shamokin, that our people thrive on competition. Our people are well educated, thanks to our area school district. The biggest thanks that we extend to our people in our town are to parents. Although this tribute is directed to Maria, we cannot disregard the wonderful heritage she had from her mother and father. Resolution number 363. The members of the Council of Borough of Coatmont, in regular meeting, duly assembled the 11th day of March at the Coatmont Municipal Building, hereby unanimously adopt the following resolution. Whereas Maria Loretta Fantanarosa resides at 902 Scott Street, the Borough of Coatmont, and is the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Michael Fantanarosa. And whereas Maria Loretta Fantanarosa started playing the sport of basketball on St. Mary's Great School girls team in the Borough of Coatmont, and matriculated to Mount Carmel Area High School as a student athlete, and continued to pursue said sport, in which she became a starter on said high school girls basketball team as a freshman. And whereas Maria Loretta Fantanarosa has guided her team these past 4 years, in which she has been the team's leading scorer and has become the high school's all-time scoring leader in said sport, be it boys or girls basketball. And whereas Maria Loretta Fantanarosa, as a senior on said team, became the highest career scorer in the sport of basketball on the high school level, in either boys or girls basketball, in the state of Pennsylvania, exceeding the old record of 3,608 points, which will hopefully stand for a long period of time and may never be exceeded. And whereas Maria Loretta Fantanarosa has led her team to the District 4 PIAA Girls Basketball Championship, the first ever for a Mount Carmel Area High School basketball team. Therefore be it resolved that the Borough Council, together with the mayor of the said borough, by this resolution wish to express a sincere congratulations to Maria on having a successful career at Mount Carmel Area School as a student and basketball player. The accolades that have been bestowed upon Maria are too numerous to mention herein, which she has accomplished over the past 4 years, and with more to be ascertained after the completion of this season. The signatures hereof also wish to convey to Maria that she has been a credit to her parents, her school, the youth of the entire school district, and to the residents of our community. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution, executed by all members of council and the Borough of Coatmont, together with the mayor, be presented to Maria at her testimonial. Signed, Mayor Wallace Stravinsky, George Murin, President of Council, John Bach, Vice President, Carmen Avellino, Member, Anthony Diavanti, Member, Frank Eschmont, Member, Marlon Hodge, Member, and Ralph Mariello. Maria, thank you for giving Coatmont this day.
As a matter of continuity, I'm going to move the order of presentations just one. And since George was talking about your start with the St. Mary's program in Coatmont, with the elementary program, I would like to ask Mary Teresa Riniak to come forward with a presentation from the St. Mary's Boosters.
I feel a great honor and privilege to present this to Maria from St. Mary's Boosters, where Maria got her original start. It's been a long road, but a very successful one, and we all want you to know how very proud we are to have you as one of us, Maria. Congratulations.
And a presentation by the Borough of Mount Carmel and Mayor Joseph Honecker. Mayor?
We in Mount Carmel are equally proud of the successes that Maria has brought to our area and our school district. And Mount Carmel has some claim to this fame because Maria's mother Loretta is a Mount Carmel native. So you see what the mixtures do of the blood throughout our area. That's why the people are so great in our area. Loretta, Maria's mother, was a nurse for my youngest son when he was in a hospital, and she spoiled him by rocking him in the ward, and when we got him home, it took us a month to get him back online. I have a proclamation. Whereas we realize that participation in organized athletics helps to build character and teaches a wholesome sense of fair play and good sportsmanship among our youth, and whereas to really excel in any one sport, a young person must demonstrate, in addition to a great deal of natural ability, an outstanding spirit of dedication, enthusiasm, and hard work. And whereas a striking example of this has been brought to our attention in the achievement of Maria Fantanarosa, who has set a new state record of 3,823 points in basketball against some of the finest athletes in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Now, therefore, I, Joseph A. Honecker, Mayor of the Borough of Mount Carmel, do proclaim the 28th of April, 1985, to be Maria Fantanarosa Day in our area, extending to her my personal congratulations and also those of our citizens. We appreciate her athletic prowess and wish her every success in her future educational and athletic endeavors. Maria?
Thank you, Mayor. Mike, I don't know how significant it is, but Loretta is claimed by Mount Carmel and you're claimed by Cottmont. Nobody's claimed me yet. Is Henry Stroh here, representing Congressman Paul Konjorski? Henry has a special presentation from the Congressman for Maria.
On April 18, 1985, Congressman Paul Konjorski introduced a resolution for the congressional record honoring Marie Fantanarosa. The resolution is as follows. Mr. Speaker, I would like to bring to your attention the achievements of a local woman who has already earned the recognition of her friends and neighbors as an outstanding athlete. Maria Fantanarosa is to be recognized for her state history-breaking basketball feats. Ms. Fantanarosa scored 3,823 points, breaking the record held by professional basketball great Tom McMillan. McMillan currently plays for the Washington Bullets of the National Basketball Association. On April 28th, Cottmont residents, local organizations, fraternal groups, and auxiliaries will meet to honor Maria for her achievement. Thomas Chernesky will serve as chairman of the testimonial committee, and Albert Pupo and George Muin will co-chair the event. There are other people too numerous to mention. Other individuals involved include Joseph Horner, Superintendent of Mount Carmel Area Schools, Mary Lou Edmondson, Carmen Avellino. Mr. Speaker, I am proud of the achievements of Maria Fantanarosa, and I am pleased to call her to your attention. Paul E. Konjorski, United States Congressman of the 11th Congressional District. It's all in there, Maria. Congratulations.
This next presentation is from a gentleman who I saw play basketball at St. Joseph's Gym in Hazleton many years ago, and at the time he was considered the most outstanding basketball player in the Commonwealth. I thought I could be like him if I was about 1 foot 4 inches taller with sharp elbows. And he has presented this, made this presentation available to Maria. Dear Maria, congratulations on your outstanding high school basketball career, and particularly your recent accomplishment of breaking the all-time Pennsylvania scoring record. As they often say, quote, records are meant to be broken, unquote, and you certainly proved this point, even if it was my record. I wish you the very best in your future. You have obviously excelled in sports because of your exceptional drive and commitment. I'm sure these qualifications will serve you in good stead in any path you might choose. With my best wishes and warmest personal regards, I remain sincerely yours, C. Thomas McMillan. And I believe we have a very special presentation, and it involves the superintendent of schools. You better steer me through this one. As I told you, I guess I'm really a pinch hitter.
At this time, I would like to ask our honored guest, Maria, to help me make this presentation. This presentation will be made through the president of the Mount Carmel School Board and to the chairman of the athletic committee. Will they please come forward? This picture, with the permission of the Board of Education, will adorn the halls of Mount Carmel Area High School to remember Maria long after she's gone.
The Mount Carmel Board of Directors and Mount Carmel Area School District accepts this beautiful picture of Maria, and we're going to display it in one of the nicest places in the high school. And Maria, you'll be there for a long, long time. So we'll find a good place for it. Thank you.
All I have to do is say thank you to the committees and everybody here, and thank you, Maria.
Maria, you've had a lot of recognition directed your way this afternoon and for the past 4 years. And I know from personal experience that you have an ability to communicate and to relate to people, as you did a couple of weeks ago on our talk show with Mike and Eric. And now it's your turn.
I felt that the speech would have been a lot easier if I wouldn't have choked up. Thank you for that. First of all, I'd like to thank the committee for all their time and hard work in making this affair such a special one that I'm sure I'll never forget. I'd also like to thank everyone for coming here today. I really appreciate that, too. I'd like to thank the elected officials, the community organization representatives for taking time out of their busy schedules to be here. I'd like to thank the Mount Carmel Area School District Board of Education and Administration for giving me the opportunity to participate in Mount Carmel basketball. During my 4 years at Mount Carmel, they've been always very supportive of the girls' basketball team. Although I'm being honored here tonight, I'd like to pay special tribute to a few people. First of all, my 4-year coach, Miss Debbie Greco. She has been so supportive and helpful through the years. If I ever had a problem, I knew I could turn to her for help. Whether my problem was serious or trivial, she was always there, and I thank her for this. I'd also like to thank my teammates. They've been just great. Whether I played with them for 1, 2, 3, and especially the girls I played with for 4 years, I would have never been able to do it without you in simple words. And we've had so many fun memories together that I'll never forget them either. But I'll also remember all the hard work that we put into reaching our goal and winning the district championship. Thank you for that. I'd now like to single one of my teammates out, Lori Adamczyk. She's not only a teammate, but she's my best friend. And I knew I could always count on Lori, whether it was to go to summer basketball camp with me, whether it was to give me advice, just be there to listen or to set an awesome pick in the game. Lori was there. Thank you for that, and I don't know what I'm going to do without you next year, Laura. I'd also like to thank all the fans, and especially my relatives, who have been very supportive. They not only called me after games with their good game phone calls, their words of wisdom, and their prayers, and they've been at so many of my games. Whether they were home or away, there was always a crew of my relation in bleachers. My Aunt Alice has been at so many that I think she knew that our plays better than I did. When I was thinking about what to say, I got to the part of my parents and brother and sister. I thought to myself, what can you say about the people who mean the most here in the world? They've been so helpful, considerate, kind. It's just unreal. Not only in the good times, but in the bad, when I was probably a most miserable brat. But they put up with me. I thank them for this. I often thank God for all the special talents that He gave me. And I thank Him for all the special people He put around me, especially my sister Alicia, brother Michael, and my mom and dad, who I love dearly. Thank you.
I don't know if that can be followed. But fortunately, I have an out. And that's to recognize the people who have been responsible for this great outpouring of appreciation this afternoon. And I would like, as I mention your name, will you please stand and remain standing? First of all, the chairman of the event, Tom Chernetsky. And the co-chairman, Al Pupo. And the treasurer, Tony Gentile. And the booklet chairman, Ferd Adamczyk. And for statistics, and I'm sure an awful lot of other coordination of work, the superintendent of Mount Carmel Area School District, Joe Warner. And for guest handling, George Murin. Coordinating the booklet was Carmen Avellino. Also Rose Rummel, Dolores Call, Helene Miglio, Julie and Jean Chernetsky and Gus Veach Jr., and Joe Chernetsky. We thank you all, but there are still some others. First of all, we'd like to introduce Maria's two grandmothers who are here with us this afternoon. Will they please stand? Also, Mike's sister and Mike's brother-in-law. Would they please stand? And Maria, you talked about the support of the Mount Carmel Area School Board. Would they please stand? And through 4 years of playing basketball, a guy who kept writing down the twos and the ones and the missed foul shots, which weren't too many, Bob Herring. And also, although I wish he'd turn his lights out, after a while they get kind of intensive, George McPhee for all of the work that he's done with this project. We have a very special candle presentation for you from Jean Chernetsky.
Public speaker, and I didn't want to do this. But this is maybe the last thing from the testimony that could be offered to you. You have to take notice. Number 11 may be the last time it's being used. A little memento from our family. We watched you a long time down in the alley, and if you remember, my husband asked you one time on the CYO team, he wanted you on his basketball team. That's when he took the championship. It would have been nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
we keep retiring athletic jerseys in Mount Carmel, we might have to move numbers up into the 100s. We would like to thank the school board and the school administration for their assistance with this very nice booklet. And for this special ribbon, and Maria, with your response, I don't know how better I could sum it up than just to look at that ribbon and say to everybody, we thank you, friends and neighbors and relatives so dear, for your congratulations and for your presence here. The memory of these happy hours you've shared with us today will linger on throughout the years and ever with us stay. Thanks for coming. We'll close with the Star-Spangled Banner, and then Vic Boris will be available for some dinner music and entertainment. And Vic, we thank you for your services. Father?
A benediction is a thank you. We thank the Lord for creation, but he left a couple things to men and women. And that was entertainment and recreation. And we thank you for the blessings of the Mount Carmel Area High School and their fine athletic programs. We thank you for the girls' basketball team especially, for Maria and her classmates, her teammates, because they have given us good entertainment and good recreation. It was always good news to read about the Mount Carmel girls and their teams. And so we have much to be thankful for. And we ask the Lord to continue blessing the Mount Carmel area, its sports programs, the coaches, the administration, and God love the taxpayers, because you have great blessings and rewards for such a fine, outstanding recreational and entertainment program. And so, God, we ask you to take care of our girls. And Maria, as you go on to Miami, may the Lord always be with you. And bless you, girls, for your fine job. And Almighty God bless us, and let us give thanks to Almighty God, for the mercy of God endures forever. God bless you all.